You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, let's talk about the WNBA. More specifically, Cathy Engelbert. Cathy Engelbert has been taking shrapnel now for a good, about 13 days past the ground zero event known as Alyssa Thomas and Caitlin Clark, the fist to the throat, the stomp that we don't talk about enough in all of that, and of course the knee to the nether region down there on Caitlin Clark, the straight white girl. And we're just a couple of days past sports legend Dan Patrick calling out Cathy Engelbert because she got scared and ran for the hills. She agreed to go on his show because, let's face it, the league needs to answer some questions. She agreed to go on his show, and then she dodged him. She backed out. All the while, she was playing golf 50 yards away while Dan Patrick was talking about it. The camera literally panned over to her hitting practice shots. It's one of the most embarrassing scenes I've ever seen in sports. Really and truly. So today, this ain't going away, Cathy. Colin Cowherd got in on it, talking about how egregious it is that the WNBA commissioner dodged Dan Patrick. Well, congratulations. Cowherd's got the biggest radio show in the country. And it's pretty funny because he says something interesting. That basically the WNBA got hit with the Caitlin Clark effect and the league cannot handle it. That the league can't handle the pressure of it. So they're squandering this opportunity. They can't handle it. They can't handle the growth of the league that they've had. Now, don't worry, if this keeps up, they won't have to worry about that any longer. Fans continue to trickle out the door. And look, you may be like, well, it's just a trickle. Yeah, they trickle out with every game. I'm just saying. They trickle out with every game. Every game and every incident. Colin Cowherd on the commissioner.
So the WNBA has stepped in it a lot, and a lot of people, myself included, have been critical. So Dan Patrick, you know Dan Patrick, he had scheduled his staff, good staff. They had scheduled Cathy Engelbert, the commissioner of the WNBA. Now, all of us in this business have people bail on us. I've lost people. You know, some people get busy, they forget, whatever, or they just don't want to do it. Commissioners should not bail on scheduled interviews.
Ever. And you should never blame your PR department because you are their bosses. You are over the PR department. They answer to you. Or they should, if you got any guts, any backbone.
I mean, that part of being a commissioner is being responsible and taking tough questions. So Cathy Engelbert, the Dan Patrick staff booked her, and she bailed. And apparently, I didn't see it, but was, 100 yards off just playing golf.
Just 100 yards off playing. It was closer than that, Colin. It was closer than that. Look at his face when he says that. Because you can't believe that this is a professional league you're talking about.
And she bailed. And apparently, I didn't see it, but was, 100 yards off just playing golf. That would add to it. So Dan Patrick went on the air, and he was very upset about it.
We're just trying to be a journalist here. That's all. We're just trying to ask questions. But don't say yes, and then all of a sudden, somebody probably said, in my opinion, oh, maybe we shouldn't do this. Well, at some point, you have to do this. This is an important league. There's expansion. There's conversation. It's been agendaized. Everybody has something to say about it. Now you have a chance to answer these questions.
I think that is a totally reasonable response. Dan's been doing this for 100 years. He does a great job. He's a total pro. He was upset and voiced it. When you're doing a 3-hour radio show live, we don't have a copy editor in this business. We don't have tape editors. You go on the air live. If you emote because you're upset, I want to hear about it. That's good broadcasting to me. He has every right to have that opinion. And he has a very good staff, and guy's been around forever, and commissioners don't bail on interviews. They just don't do it. So it's interesting because I was watching the WNBA yesterday, and I thought
That's unheard of.
about this yesterday. And I watched the WNBA game, and I got to tell you, the product, it was in Dallas, very good TV, very good energy. And here's the thing, and I was thinking, why is the WNBA just keep stepping in it? I can keep bashing them, but why? And I came to the conclusion that there's all these leagues, they all have owners, they all have commissioners, they're all covered by the media. Since Caitlin Clark has arrived, the WNBA has exploded. They're now flying private. They've introduced 3 new teams. The Golden State Valkyries have $1 billion valuation. They're drawing like 20,000 a night. The Portland Fire, home run. Toronto Tempo, home run. You got 3 new franchises. That takes a lot of work. You have a superstar in the league. That takes a lot of work. The other night, Toronto played Montreal. They had like 20,000 people at the game. You got posters now that even create controversy. You have exploding revenue, exploding attendance, massive star power in Caitlin Clark, very strong growth. And I think all of it it's a little too much for them to handle. It's like any business listening. Anybody listening to me that owns a business is that part of the problem of hyper growth as a business, any business, is just getting your damn arms around it. And they have stepped in it so many times, and they beat hockey now, the NHL in ratings. Caitlin Clark is as well known as almost any.
Caitlin Clark beats hockey most of the time, okay? But there are times that hockey still defeats Caitlin Clark. As far as the other games go, most of the time hockey's still whipping their ass.
Hockey star, maybe that's not even arguable. Maybe it's by a lot. She sells merchandise. She moves TV ratings. There's nobody in hockey doing that. And hockey's a legit sport, like it's one of the big 4.
It's a good point, though, that hockey is considered one of the big 4, although I've seen arguments that the UFC has replaced hockey. But,
So you've got bigger arenas, bigger attendance, bigger revenue, different travel, superstar, massive media criticism. They can't get their arms around it. Like, and if Gordon Ramsay opens a restaurant in London and it tanks, it makes the newspapers. It's talked about. If your buddy Joe opens a restaurant west side of Chicago and it tanks, nobody cares. That's the downside to popularity. It is a privilege to be criticized. It is a privilege to deal with pressure. And I'm just thinking about it this weekend. I'm like, God, they keep stepping in it. It's not like they're a bunch of dummies. I think they have such hyper growth, they can't get their arms around it.
That can apply to the Indiana Fever and Stephanie White. It's a privilege that you're being criticized and that you're having all this, you're in a pressure cooker all the time. Because frankly, you could still be in a spot where nobody gives a shit, where nobody cares. I've tried to say that, they get the attention of, they're the Dallas Cowboys of the WNBA, if there is such a thing. But the alternative is, you're not having any money. You don't have any revenue. You're back to being, irrelevant as a team. The league better figure something out. It feels like it needs Adam Silver. Like the league needs Adam Silver. Cathy Engelbert is in the middle of a PR crisis, disaster. She still hasn't came out and made any comments. She hasn't addressed the Dan Patrick thing. She didn't address the Alyssa Thomas thing. There was a whole thing about Alyssa Thomas hadn't heard from the commissioner. No, she had, but we haven't heard Cathy Engelbert respond to the fact that Alyssa Thomas went out there and lied and told everybody she hadn't heard from the commissioner. The commissioner office was like, no, she has. We reached out directly. All these different things. He talked about agenda in the league. That's part of the other problem is they don't have a commissioner that will actually stand up and not be run. That's like, right. Can you imagine a player trying to run over Roger Goodell? That's not going to happen in the NFL. It's not going to happen in baseball or the NBA or what. No. I mean, the buck stops. Adam Silver can be a weakling at times, depending on who. I mean, like if it's LeBron, yeah, he ain't got a chance. But some other player, yeah, he'll flex on him. Cathy Engelbert, she letting everybody run over. It was a terrible look for her to stand up Dan Patrick, because that's one of the most respected guys in all of sports for 35 years that does not have an agenda and just wants to ask straight, pointed questions. And you screwed him. It's a terrible look. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.